Seven, six, five, four, three, two, one.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Easy Does It. And in this show, what we do is we talk about staple concentrates, so recipes that use its application, and potentially any subs that we know of, and why. Ultimately, the biggest thing is why you need to have this in your flavor stash. Today's episode is all about Inawera Cactus, Richard's favorite. So we'll let him speak about it for for a minute or two. Anyway, let's go into this, guys. Applications. Deetz, you are an Inawera Cactus fanboy, so I'll let you talk about the applications, and then I'll just add to how I use it when I'm developing recipes.
Okay, well, initially when I got it, I just got it because it's cactus. I mean, who would even think of mixing that into anything? So, as everyone does with something weird, or strange, and unusual, you overdo it. So, I definitely overdid it by mixing it at some stupid percentage, and then it just stayed there for a long time. And at a later stage, I started seeing people use it as an additive for some wetness, and I read up on it a bit more. I personally also use it a lot, and I mean a lot, almost in, I would say 90 or 80% of what I mix, it's in there. Either at a fraction or up to, I think I mix it up to about 8%. No, not 8%, 0.8%, not 8%, you would die. Sure, I almost gave Richard a heart attack now. 0.8%. So between 0.25, sometimes 0.2, I've actually had it at a drop, whichever that is. And as an additive, it depends on what you need. It adds a little bit of wetness for me, so I like using it for that purpose because I mix a lot of juices and fruit juicy type things. So a lot of people dislike it specifically because they probably tasted in a juice and it featured as a profile. Now, that is definitely something you either love in a juice or you don't. For me, that's mainly why I use it as an additive, because I don't really enjoy it as a favorite flavor. But there are some things like Prickly Victory by Hashling Slasher. Now, that recipe explains exactly why, to people who like cactus, that recipe explains exactly why it's good. Because you take the guava and you take the cactus, and if I say to you, this juice is a prickly guava, whatever you imagine, it is very close probably to that. So in a juice like that, it gives it a desert flower type of feel without the flowery profile. Don't get me wrong, I'm not mixing flowery things here. I'm just saying. More to what I use it for additives, I mix it very low, specifically not to get that flavor, but it does add in a wetness. Now, what I've found is even when I push it a little bit higher than the 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, roundabout there, normally from 0.4, I really start to taste it, and I've also learned if I combine it with dragon fruit, but also not dragon fruit as a profile, more as a additive to combine the flavors a bit more. When I use the cactus and dragon fruit together, I can push the cactus a bit higher without getting the cactus flavor from it. Also giving you a bit more wetness without that cactus profile. So I used it like that in one of my watermelon recipes. I really like it as an additive. It adds that little bit of mouthfeel to the profile. And if you are one for strange juices, then a guava cactus, with a cactus being a profile, not an additive. It's a very interesting juice, and that just complements cactus in a more front profile type of a way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're a fruit nut like myself and Deetz and you don't have cactus, I'm not
Get
sure
it.
exactly what you're doing because there's no easier way of adding a little bit of wetness to a dryish fruity mix than with cactus. You know what's really interesting, Deetz, is the information again on ELR. Um, they say median in mixers is 0.8%, right? So if you're a new mixer, you've got cactus because you've seen people talking about this in groups, and you go, hey, I'm just going to mix it up at the median of what everybody is mixing up. You might have a bad experience here. I mean, 0.8% is double the amount that you recommend before you start really tasting the cactus. That's, I mean, you start tasting it at 0.4. I mean,
Yes.
three drops of Inawera Cactus and a 30 ml mix, you'll start tasting it. You know what I mean? Like it really comes, comes out in the mix. So yeah, I use it exactly the same way as what Deetz is using it, to add a little bit of juiciness, a little bit of wetness, moisture, whatever you want to call it, to a dry mix. Any dry mix that you have, just add a little bit of Inawera Cactus, and it will just, the citrusy notes on there, I'm not sure what it does, but it adds that moisture in your mix. Anyway, the other things I use it for as well is to add a little bit of texture to the fruits. You know, so for instance, if you have a strawberry that's very kind of like top note, and it doesn't have a lot of depth to it, by adding a little bit of cactus to it, it will give it some flesh. You know what I'm saying? And you have to be very careful how much you use. I mean, very low, 0.2%. It's going to give it a little bit of flesh and a little bit of wetness, and also adds and bends that, you know, berry or fruit, whatever you're using, whatever fruit you're using, adds a little bit of a different dimension to it, right? It pairs well with citrus because of the citrusy kind of notes that you find in there. Lemons, very well. Strawberries, any berries really, any fruits for that matter. I mean, some recipes. I'll also, also wanted to recommend one of Deetz's favorites now, which is Prickly Victory. But another good one is Kawayan. I've got a pink lemonade that I also use it in there as well to add a little bit of wetness, because my lemonade was a little bit dry. I put a little bit of pink lemonade, so I've just added that in there. You can check the link out and see how I've used it, just to bring wetness. And you can't taste the cactus in there at all. So yeah, I kind of agree with what Deetz is saying. Another interesting thing here, it's got I mean, you should never use this as a mix, a standalone flavor, but it says there 1.1% on its own, right? But this is only used, and this is the strangest thing for me. I mean, this is only used in 28,900 recipes on ELR, which is so bizarre for me because, I thought this was going to be double that, at least, because of the different ways you can apply this. But I guess, there's people like Richard. Richard, do you want to tell us why we should not have this in our flavor stash?
That's exactly what I want to say. It's people like Richard. If you love it, it's good. If you are bordering even on the side of disliking it, then even the smallest tinge of it is going to make you dislike that recipe.
For me, the executive summary of Inawera Cactus, it's a staple flavor that I will always have in my stash, but which I never want to taste. I mean, that's what it comes down to. I mean, you want to talk about using cactus to the point where it's discernible in a mix. Try Philosophaca's grape juice. 2.25% Inawera Cactus with 4% Inawera grape. And I mean, people loved it. It's got 40 odd recipes. It's got 40 odd ratings, tons of 5-star ratings. And I mixed it up and I just couldn't. I mixed up with 50.
I agree.
Post-traumatic
I
stress.
agree with you.
Yeah.
I vaped a mill of it. I thought, let me leave it a bit longer. Maybe it'll calm down. And it was one of those bottles that just sat on my desk. I got like 50 bottles on my desk, and every time I change flavors, my hand hovers over the bottles. And every time it hovered over grape juice, some supernatural force just moved it away to something else. And after like 8 months, I thought, no. And I just had to toss it. I get that it's a very different juice. It's a very intriguing juice. A lot of people love it, but I just can't. Over 2% Inawera Cactus.
No.
I can't do.
I agree with you, Richard. Definitely.
Even the prickly victory, the 1% is too much for me. I want Inawera Cactus at 2%, at 0.2% to 0.25%, to add a slight bit of juiciness, and then also just to add that little bit of bite, and just to cut through the sweetness of some fruit flavors, and just give it that more natural, acerbic, vitamin-rich feel that you get from from natural fruits rather than from candied fruits. So in that respect, it works very well. I'm not a big fan of sweeteners, so if Cactus just cuts the sweetness down fractionally, that's great. Adds a bit of juiciness, that's great. But the moment I taste that Cactus flavor, I'm just turned off.
It's getting
straight away.
Like grape juice.
Yeah. Nevertheless,
Sorry,
I will always have it in my stash.
Yeah.
Even as someone who likes it and even uses it in some juices, and every time I think of when I say of using it in a juice, I now think of prickly victory. That's a fruit that works with Cactus to me. But even the grape juice didn't work for me. The Cactus was too much. It ruined the profile for me. It just messed it all up. So as a person who loves Cactus, that didn't work for me. But I believe it doesn't work with everything, especially at high percentages. It's a very specialized or special flavor that it does not mix with everything. The guava just works because it works. Guava on its own is very strange, and now if you add a little bit, but not too much, not 2%, it works.
Yeah, when you add it to guava, in Kawayan, I know, like Richard was saying, in a previous episode, that pink guava from FLV is the most perfect grapefruit on the market right now. But if you look at that as well, that's also a pairing where Inawera Cactus was paired with a guava, and it's beautiful. I can't remember exactly what the percentages was, but I think it went quite high, up to about like 1%. I think it was 1% of Cactus. If my memory serves me right here, but
yeah, I think it was 1.
Yeah, I think it was 1. Another interesting thing from Inawera Cactus, it makes the fruits pop a little bit more. So if a lot of people would use and from a culinary perspective, drizzle a little bit of lemon over your fruits, right? And it will bring out the fruits a little bit more. And we found the same thing, in DIY recipes or recipes per se. So, but I think why Inawera Cactus makes your fruits pop a little bit more is because of the citriness or citry notes in it. So, it kind of does the same as what a lemon would do, but the added benefit on top of that is the moisture, the juiciness, the wetness that it brings to your mix, which is a big bonus. From a sub perspective, right, there's nothing like Inawera Cactus. Let's just be clear on that. But
Nothing.
Deetz, what else would bring some juiciness to a fruit mix? I think you spoke about peachy. What is it? Juicy peach or peach?
Yes,
juice?
that's the only thing I would say. But look, it's not going to give you the same profile that Cactus would. Nothing would do
more.
what Cactus does.
Yeah.
But juiciness in a fruit juice, definitely peach juicy. It's peach brackets juicy.
Okay,
that
gotcha.
does wonders as an additive. So that definitely gives you a bit more of a juicy feel, and in the same way that a lemon pops the flavor, and I would say, okay, cactus brings a moistness, a wetness, but the peach juicy brings like that pop that the lemon brings and the juiciness. Not quite like the cactus brings, but it adds a juiciness. So for juiciness in something where you can't use cactus, definitely juicy peach.
Juicy peach.
I mean, it's in the name. Yeah.
What about
Peach
things
juicy,
like
sorry.
cap lemon lime, FA pear?
I think lemon lime also, in a sense where if you're looking for something to make a fruit pop a little bit, you know what I mean? You just want a little bit more dimension to your fruit, so your fruit might be slightly muted by creams or whatever the case is. Adding a little bit of lemon lime to it will definitely bring out that fruit a little bit more, say in the same way as what cactus does, right? So if you are looking to bring out your fruit a little bit more, then you can potentially look at lemon lime. I agree with that.
Lemon lime is a bit sharp, even at low percentages. I can see how that works, but instead of lemon lime, something with a lower profile at lower percentages would be FA lemonade. I would definitely use that also, but at low percentages, very low, to give that pop.
Lemon Sicily.
No, FA lemonade. I've got it as FA lemonade.
If I don't do lemonade, lemon Sicily.
No, hold on, let me check here.
FW lemonade.
Yeah, sorry, FW lemonade.
FW. Yeah.
Trust Richard to call you out in the show.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
thanks, Rich. Couldn't just politely correct you.
Shout out, Richard. I could have just corrected that with a little bit of text, but no.
No, wait, I need to find my recipes now.
Guys, is there anything more that you wanted to add on Inawera Cactus?
Yeah, are you sure it's not what did we say? FA lemonade. I'm back on this. My recipe's open.
Okay, gotcha.
I've got it as FA lemonade.
There's FA lemon Sicily, there's Lorraine lemonade, and there's FW lemonade. Lorraine and FW are the two big lemonades. The lemon Sicily is a FA and cap.
Yeah, lemon Sicily is also a big lemon.
Look, lemon Sicily it's limoncello, which is
I've got lemon Sicily too, and I've got FA lemonade. I'm checking Black's website now quickly.
Just on the subject of potential subs for Inawera Cactus, I haven't tried it yet, but heads up from Concrete River, he's just tested the new FA dragon fruit. And according to him, if I remember correctly, he says that adds a degree of juiciness to a mix. So if you don't want that sharp, if you don't want that sharp aloe taste, maybe have a look at FA dragon fruit to add juiciness to a fruit mix. He likened it to FA pear.
Does anybody know? I mean, I say it's the citrus notes that makes the fruits shine a little bit more. But what I mean, if you break a concentrate down into the elements, right? What is it that brings the moistness? Because does anybody know what that is? Guys, anybody that watches the show that knows, what element in Inawera Cactus is bringing that juiciness to it, can you please just leave a comment below and educate us on what it is?
Yes, please.
Yeah, you.
It's FW. I found it. It's FW lemonade. Do we all agree now?
Cool. Be cool, man.
If W is the top one.
No, right, I've got that one. And another thing, maybe just to use as something to pop your fruits, vape trains fizzy sherbet.
Yes, Concrete was going on about it as well.
Yes, it's awesome. I've got it again in everything. I go into these binges when I find something new. It's like 50 bottles of fizzy sherbet. That's it. Thanks. That happened with the 3-to-1 ocean water. I had 9 variations of that.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So, there you go. There's the reasons why you should have Inawera Cactus in your flavor stash, especially if you're into fruit, or if you're thinking about exploring with fruits for the summer. I mean, we're approaching summer now. Everybody in the northern hemisphere are approaching winter, so might not be that popular. But yeah, there you go, guys. Please leave comments below if you need any more information, and we'll get back to you. Or if you're looking for any information or want feedback from us, right? Just leave a comment. We'll get back to you. Thank you so much for watching the show, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.